Rise and shine on Australia's Vision Christian Radio.
Well, it's your Tuesday. I'm going to say Wednesday, but it's not. It's Tuesday, definitely. You're on Rise and Shine, the podcast, if that's where you want to be.
And we had a lot of fun on the show today, didn't we, Fel?
We did. We were talking about pre-polling etiquette, or polling etiquette if you wait till the day, and so much to learn from that conversation, including something about sausages, which Andy didn't know about before today, so we've been educating him throughout the morning.
I know all about a democracy sausage, and for some reason we just relived parts of a movie called Sound of Music, like this part here.
This, best part of the Sound of Music.
Dad with the guitar.
Colonel Von Trapp. I remember just crying over this part.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, it's the reconciliation moment.
Dad coming down to the level of the kids.
And then the kids coming forward and starting to sing.
Oh, and the nun goes all gooey too. She's like, oh, he's so nice.
Well, then she's falling in love.
That's right.
Gooey. She's falling in love. It's just beautiful. I mean, there's so much in this movie.
I love it. I love it.
We do love it. So there's a bit of reminiscing. I mean, that's only a tiny bit of the show, but for us, it's now become the full focus.
But it was a good show, and we even had a clip from another movie called Flying High. We won't play that clip as well.
No.
But about running the gauntlet when you go into the pre-polling booth of, do you take the flies, do you not take the flies? So we can guarantee you this one thing. If you listen to today's podcast, you'll be glad you did.
You should get a chuckle.
There's lots in there, isn't there, Phil?
Hopefully you enjoy it. If you want to get in touch about any of the things we've chatted about, send us a text, 0447 488 316. Enjoy. Good morning. It's your Tuesday. It's great to be waking up with you here on Rise and Shine. It's Fel and Andy.
Hey, morning, Phil. It is a great day to be alive, isn't it?
It is. I was thinking in the car on the way here this morning, this is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad. And I was thinking of everyone waking up in their beds this morning and thinking, that's such a great way to start the day. I will rejoice. I'll be glad. I'll get up and get going for the day.
Yeah, let's bring some of that today, Phil. And glad you're with us today. All of our Vision family listening right now. Looking forward to being with you for the next few hours. We've got a great show lined up, haven't we, Phil?
We do. We're going to be talking a little bit about election etiquette today. And we're after your ideas, so we'll chat about that soon. But perhaps if you've got some thoughts about how you go about your voting, not who you vote for, but how you do it, we'd love to hear from you later in the show.
Looking forward to hearing your thoughts on that, Phil, because I know you're a thinking voter, aren't you, Phil? You think about it a lot before you go in there.
Well, there is certainly a process that I've stuck to. My family tease me about it. So, look, that's coming up soon. I'll let you know why there's teasing in the Limmer household about my method of voting. I think I'm perfectly normal, but I'd like your opinion on that.
And later in the show, especially for our country listeners, really looking forward to hearing about a women's conference which can go into any country, town or city in Australia, and it's really taking off. I think about 10,000 attended it last year, and it's on again this year, so I'm really keen to hear about that.
That's right. We'll be chatting to Isabelle from Equip Women's Conferences. It's coming up about an hour and a half from now as well. We'll also be chatting to Brett and Kate Ryan from Focus on the Family. They're coming up to Families Week, so we're going to get some advice from them in the meantime as well.
Thanks for streaming the Rise and Shine Daily podcast. Please subscribe to the show, rate it on your favourite podcast platform, and share the link on your socials. It all helps get the word out.
Phil, don't you love getting to talk to all the different people around the world and in Australia here who are involved in Christian music, Christian ministry, Christian activities, and even Christian songwriters?
Yeah, that's right. Yesterday, we got to have a chat to Ben Fielding. What a legend. He's one of those guys who actually has written many of the songs that you know and love, like this one. What a wonderful name it is. Love this song.
Yes.
He's a prolific songwriter. Grammy Award-winning, multi-platinum Australian songwriter, but he's often behind the scenes. What a privilege to be able to have a chat and ask him some about his experience.
Yeah, as a songwriter, because a lot of us don't know his name, but we know his songs. Yeah. And it was good to ask him, for young players out there who want to be songwriters and write Christian music, what's the first step? Like, what have you actually got to do to become a Christian songwriter?
I think I can resonate with that desire. Like, I grew up going to a little Baptist church in Melbourne, and I remember walking out of church humming the melodies of these amazing songs, like Scripture in Song. They were
the books.
We would sing some early Jeff Bullock songs and Darlene Check songs, and I was so captivated by the music. but also like how it was helping even my little mind at the time understand who God was. And I would leave sort of singing I was basically singing scripture like over in my mind. And there was a moment where I can still remember being it was a Baptist convention in Melbourne, and it might have been 5,000. Don't know how many people. Felt like a lot at the time. And at one point, the music sort of came down, and we were singing Jack Hayford's Majesty, and just the room was just the voices of the people of God singing Majesty. And I must have been 6 years old. I just remember being like, wow, like this is just captivating. Like to hear all these people singing the same truth. It did something in my little heart. And as soon as I could pick up a guitar, I wanted to play songs that we were singing in church. And as soon as I started writing songs, I wanted to write songs that we could sing or that I could sing in worship. And I think my encouragement would be to just like fall in love with firstly fall in love with the Lord and involve yourself or immerse yourself in the scriptures and learn about who he is, because the Psalms talk about having the heart like a pen of a ready writer, that out of the overflow of what you've put in will flow truth and will flow worship. And so do that, but then never lose this passion for using art and creativity to bring glory back to the one who deserves it most, and to the one that gave you that gift of creativity, and that is your creator.
Oh, brilliant. That's Ben Fielding, epic songwriter. And really that advice could be for anyone in any field of endeavour, couldn't it, Andy? Getting close to God, knowing your God, and therefore then the creator of that gift, giving him the access to be able to use that gift.
Yeah, you're right. That's relevant to every area of life, whether it's songwriting or working or starting a business or studying or being an academic, a mum or a dad at home. There's so many things that we can do in life that, the Lord can help us if we just ask him to lead us and guide us.
That's right. Getting to know God is the first step, which is what we're all about here at Vision. So that was Ben Fielding. Wonderful to have a chat.
Rise and shine on Vision Christian Radio.
Phil, I just want to alert you to the fact there's an election on this Saturday.
Just in case.
A federal election, in case you haven't noticed.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that Australians are more and more voting before Election Day. So I think as of last night, almost 3 million Aussies have already cast their vote. So they just get in there early. And it's been in the news a little bit, Phil. So we might have a little listen to this piece of news now.
More than 500,000 people across the country cast their ballot on day one of pre-polling, smashing the last election record by 70%.
Today I got my day off because of that Easter, and then I was wondering, might as well.
Less crowd and it's easier to get through the line and get it done.
New South Wales had the highest turnout with over 166,000 votes cast. In Victoria, 143,000 voters turned up, while in the Sunshine State, more than 100,000 people cast their ballot. Western Australia had a 115% increase in early voting from last election. Other states and territories also recorded significant figures.
And what a huge increase in this pre-polling.
Yeah, and that was just day one. So from that day until yesterday, almost 3 million Australia-wide have voted. But Phil, I want to hear about your experience, because I believe you've already voted this year. And tell me about the vibe or the feeling you get when you turn up to these polling booths.
Yeah, look, it has been something of a discussion point in our home for a while now. Every time we go to vote, it seems to pop up again. And that is around the etiquette to do with polling. So Murray and I did choose this weekend to go out and pre-poll. We were like, this would be great. We'll get rid of the crowds. We're a bit busy next weekend, so we'll get along nice and early. But as you turn up, I just imagine, you rock up, you've parked your car, and all in front of you before you go into polling booth. So I'm not even in the booth yet, not even in the line. There is just a huge crowd of people all trying to hand you those how to vote cards.
And they're looking at you intently, isn't it? It's almost like running the gauntlet, isn't it?
It does feel a lot like. It's like you've got to put your head down. You have to get through the gauntlet, and at the other side you can cast your vote for your nation. But I do think, how do you attack that gauntlet of people who are all trying to pitch you to vote for them?
I know. So how did you deal with that,
I
Phil?
do it the same way I always do it. I put my head down, face like flint, I stare towards the end, and I walk purposefully towards the end prize. I only get the one card from the one people that I'm going to vote for. That party, I take theirs and I keep moving on through. Now, Murray, on the other hand, he's much friendlier. Yeah. So he doesn't like anyone to feel like they're left out. So he will go down almost like he's high-fiving all the people down the line.
Taking brochures.
Yeah, mate, hey, how you doing? Love your work. He's grabbing everyone's brochure. So he gets to the end with this huge armful of how to vote cards. I don't know what that's doing to the environment. And everyone thinks that that he's voting for them. Yeah. Well, he's not. He's only voting for one. The rest, I don't know what happens to them. They disappear. But there's only one that he really wants, and he gets to the other end. And I feel like, and there's a lot of discussion. He's embarrassed that I'm not being more friendly. Yep. But I'm also like, really, mate, you don't have to make friends with these people this time. Let's just get through and make our vote count. So the etiquette question is here. Do you say hi to everyone? Do you grab all the how to vote cards? Or do you just go through and grab the one that you're after?
It's a really good question.
What do you do, Andy?
Well, I'm like you. I kind of already know what I'm going to do, and I don't like pushy people pushing things on me.
Right.
So I've never been rude to anyone.
No, we're not rude.
But then again, certain people who represent things that aren't my values, if they try and put one of those things in my hand, I'm like, no, I don't want it. Sure. Yeah, you can back off there, right there.
Well, there we go. So, we could go together then, Andy.
Yeah, but what I do is I actually do my research and I work out which party or candidate most represents my Christian values, and that's who I try and vote for.
Oh, that's very good.
But one of my great joys is actually putting a number on everyone in that Senate ticket.
Yes, because under the line.
Yeah, well, because for me, that's democracy. I get to put the people I don't agree with right at the bottom, and I get to put the people I most agree with right at the top, and I just love doing that because people all around the world don't get that opportunity to actually vote in an election. So that's, to me, my greatest democratic moment. When I'm through the gauntlet, I've passed all those people, and I'm actually in that little thing, and I spent ages in there. I give a number to every single
You're holding
candidate.
Up the line. If you're in Andy's polling booth, you're like, why is this line not moving? It's because Andy is there. He's putting a number in every box.
I'm exercising my democratic right. Yeah, well, I am, Phil, and looking forward to exercising that right probably this Saturday, I think. I'm not going to do the pre-poll thing.
Wait a minute, are you telling me Vision's breakfast show is now available around the clock and on demand? Incredible! The Rise and Shine podcast. Rise and Shine.
Are you ready for a challenge? Listen to the mystery sound, correctly name the Bible story, and win a great prize. Sounds easy, but is it? Rise and Shine's Bible Story Sound Off.
That's right. And look, I've been promised that there's a little bit more to the sound today. It's been sticking around for a while.
It has. I would encourage everyone right now to lean a little bit closer to your radio or to your device, to your app, whatever way you're listening this morning, and have a little listen to this sound. That is the sound.
Are you sure?
From a story in the Bible, Phil.
So apparently this is from the Bible.
It's all in the Bible.
I'm not sure what that bit of the sound is, Andy.
Well, this is why it's called the Bible Story Sound Off, because you've got to find out what it is. You've got to work it out.
Okay, very good. Well, I'm glad the sound machine has sucked out that piece of sound from the Bible.
Literally sucked that one out.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm going to give you one more listen.
No, I don't know if I can.
This is a sound
on and on
from a story in the Bible. Listen up. There we go.
It's still going. Andy! Oh, I did hear something at the end there.
There is definitely something going on there, Phil. And what I can promise you is that one of the Bible heroes is the key player in that story, okay?
Oh, dear. And we said it's New Testament.
Well, I did say that yesterday. I gave a very big clue
It's in the New Testament.
Now, let's have a listen. This is what it's not, Phil.
Okay, thank you.
The temple's been disregarded for a very long time, and people are cleaning it up and going through I think it might even be rubble, but anyway, they find these scrolls, and they open these scrolls and read them and realise what it is and take it to King Hezekiah.
Maybe somebody rolling up a heap of small little Easter eggs and rolling them down to the neighbour's road.
Letting the spies, opening the window.
Rahab.
Oh,
Rahab and the...
Is it the veil being torn in the temple?
Jesus met the fishermen and they were fishing in the boat and they were throwing the fish into the sea and they were reeling up their... I know it's not technical reel, but they would have had some kind of reel to reel in the fish.
That was very good. They're great. I mean, the Easter egg one is probably the most left of centre, but they're very, very good guesses.
They are great guesses, and unfortunately, all of them got this sound.
Which Andy is taking more and more joy in doing, actually.
Well, what I want to hear today, Phil, is that sound.
I do too. I think the sound is probably done now.
So all you've got to do is tell us what the Bible... Do you want to hear it one more time, Phil?
I want to know, but I don't want to know yet. Okay. Yep.
Last listen, everyone. This is a Bible story, and there is a Bible hero as the main player in this story, which is being captured right now thanks to our nuclear-powered time machine. We flew back in time, landed in a Bible story, and recorded this sound.
I'm trying to work out what that is.
Well, let your imagination run wild, Phil. Let it go wild right now.
Well, I don't know if we should put Andy in charge of the sound anymore, but look, that is the sound. If you think you know what it might be, 1-800-316-316. We'd love to crack the code on that one today.
The Rise and Shine podcast.
Thankfully, we've got Adam on the line. Adam, what do you think it might be?
Is it when Lazarus come out of the tomb and they had to unwrap him from all the grave clothes?
I can hear that. There's a bit of rapping sort of a sound. Would it be noisy?
You think Lazarus would have been making a few sounds as well when he came out of the
my
clothes?
goodness.
Maybe.
Well, it's a very good guess. It's New Testament. It's not the right one. Thank you so much, Adam.
Good guess, Adam.
Good guess.
Oh, no worries.
Bye. Hey, Ebony from Townsville, what do you reckon it might be?
Is it when Jesus made the whip?
Because it's that sound of like fabric going together. That is a very good guess. Excellent, Ebony.
Let me have a little look there, Ebony. Let me see.
Yeah? Oh. But New Testament, Ebony, well done. Very good guess.
So close and yet so far. Thank you so much for the call.
Thanks, hon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Dean from Inverell, have you got it for us?
Oh, look, I don't know, but it sounds like a boat in a storm, creaky timbers and things like that. It sounds like it might be the storm on the lake.
Mm-hmm. And a creaky sort of a boat.
A few sailors on the boat as well.
Jesus, he's asleep or... Yep. Well,
so which story in the Bible is that, mate?
Well, yeah, in the storm where Jesus is sleeping on the boat and they wake him up because of the storm.
I always think that's incredible. Jesus is actually asleep in the storm.
That
He's
is a
not
Bible
worried.
story. Let me have a look and see.
Oh, you're loving doing that, aren't you,
So
Andy?
close, yet so far.
Thanks, Dean.
All right, no worries. See you guys.
See you, mate.
Well, the sound lives on for another day, unfortunately, or fortunately. I
got to push that 3 times
loved
today.
it, don't you?
No, I want this one too, Phil. I'm inclusive. I like both sounds. I just need someone to get the right answer.
You're just enjoying it more and more. The more I look over at Andy and he's got this pan face and he just loves pressing it. But anyway, there we go.
We're caffeinated and ready to face the day.
This is Rise and Shine on Vision.
I want to give a big shout out to Alstonville in New South Wales, listening along on 87.6 FM. It's a beautiful hinterland town between Lismore and Ballina. So if you can imagine green rolling hills where avocados and macadamia nuts are growing happily in the countryside, that's where you are. There's about 5,000 people who call this beautiful part of the world home. And your weather today is about 18 degrees, heading up to 23 degrees during the day. So whatever you're doing, perhaps you're out pre-polling, maybe you're casting your vote early, having one of those democracy sausages. We haven't talked about that actually, Andy. That's another point, whether you have a sausage when you vote.
The old democracy sausage, yes, Phil. That's a whole new conversation there.
Anyway, a big good morning to you. Do you have a scripture for us there, Andy?
I do. Romans chapter 5, and we are in verse 10. It says, "For if when we were enemies, we were reconciled to God through the death of his Son, much more, having been reconciled to God, we shall be saved by his life."
Beautiful. Isn't that great to know? We were once far off. thanks to, well, the Bible says Paul was saying Adam, he sinned, and Eve sinned, fell short of the glory of God. But isn't it great that we've been reconciled, brought near to God, in fact, into his family by Jesus?
That's it. And if you want to look that up, it's in Romans chapter 5, verse 10.
It's the daily podcast of your favourite Aussie breakfast show, Rise and Shine. Rise and Shine.
Fel, you raised a really interesting question before. You said, what do you do when you go to vote? Do you just walk straight in there, go hard, or do you listen and talk to everybody and be everyone's friend? And it's a good question, isn't it? Voting etiquette.
Well, it's true. More than 1 million Australians have already cast their vote. In fact, they're expecting up to 3 million Australians to have their say before we actually officially go to the polls on Saturday for our federal election. So a reminder, you do have to vote this weekend if you're over 18.
But there's a lot of intensity at voting booths now, isn't there, Phil? There's a lot of parties and interested parties and individuals who want you to vote a certain way. And it actually reminds me a little bit, there's an old movie called Flying High, and the pilot's trying to get to the airport to go and save the plane that's going to crash, and he just can't get through all these people.
Excuse me, we'd like you to have this flower. Excuse me, sir, would you...
He's just pushing him out of the way.
So he's marching down through the airport. People are approaching him and he's having to push them out of the way.
He's punching, he's kicking, he's throwing them. He's
kids.
Andy loves it. And look, it is interesting because when we go to vote, my husband and I have completely different ways of attacking that lineup of people. Murray is he's high-fiving everyone along the line. He's like, here he is, he's taking a sausage, off he goes, eating along and saying hello. It's a very social interaction. I'm the other. I put my head down, face like flint. I'm grabbing I had a vote card from the person that I'm going to vote for, and I'm right through the line.
But you're not like the pilot in that clip
I'm not rude.
From Flying High. You're not throwing them around and throwing their flowers in their face and beating them up.
No. Nothing. I'm not rude, but I am certainly purposeful with the way I walk through the line, and it's caused some disruption in my family, whether or not that's the correct way to do it. There's etiquette around this voting moment. So we put it out there. What do you think? Are you a face like flint person? You're going down that gauntlet of people with just one that you're taking your car out a vote card from? Or are you accepting them all and high-fiving along the way?
Or are you scrunching them up and throwing them in their face like the pilot out of Flying High would have done? I'm sure he would have done that.
You would have, let's hope that's not one of the answers. 1-800-316-316. I can see we've got Natalie on the line. Natalie, how do you attack that voting gauntlet?
Well, it wasn't. I went on Tuesday. It wasn't too bad at our place, but they do kind of come towards you. And I actually did want 2 or 3 of them because I wanted to see where they put their preferences. I wasn't sure who they put in what order.
Yes.
And I wanted to just kind of weigh that up too, where they put all the different parties and where I wanted to put all the different parties as a consequence. I knew who was first, but, but the funny thing is we've got this, she's just turned 7, little granddaughter, and she was holding my hand and we were walking in and we were taking all these leaflets, and I talked to her in the car on the way in and explained to her that Nanny was voting and what does that mean, and I explained to her that we live in a country where we get to choose, and that's really good. And
yes,
so we have to go and make a choice and pick the numbers 1, 2, 3, and who we want to be our boss, our leader.
Awesome.
And, all of that. Anyway, and so this one person comes up with a voting card and shoves that in my face, and I actually took that because I wanted to see where this person put their preferences. And so my little granddaughter looks up at me and says, "Are you voting for her, Nanny?" And I couldn't sort of not, I said, "No, darling, I'm not." The nice man looked at her and looked at me, and he just smiled. He didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And he looked at her and said, "Well, maybe you can vote, darling."
We'll have you in a few years' time. Oh, I think that's so funny. I remember going to vote with Millie when she was a bit younger, and at the end, she said, "Well, Mum, at least we voted for," and she yelled it out to the whole group of people. I was like, well, it's out there now. There's no secrets who we're voting for. But it is fun. It's great to have you going along with your kids and grandkids now. I'm looking forward to embarrassing mine. Bella gets to vote later on the year, and I'm going to video her doing it, so that'll be embarrassing for her.
So, Natalie, just to clarify, you've already voted this election, or are you talking about the last election?
No, I've voted on this.
She's done.
Yeah, okay.
Look at her go.
You've done the pre-poll.
And it feels good. And it's done, and I can kind of relax and ignore the hype now.
Yeah, I'm with you, Natalie.
Well,
The
you're one of
pre-polling for the win.
3 million Australians. Both you and Fel are one of 3 million Australians that have already voted so far.
Yeah, indeed.
Oh.
Indeed. Which, all these the politicians are working so hard now to convince us, and I'm thinking, oh, well, it's a bit late.
Yeah, I'm all done. Natalie, thanks so much for giving us a buzz this morning.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Oh, well, we would love to hear from you. 1-800-316-316. Ian's thrown another question into the mix as well here. He says the main issue, forget cost of living crisis, the main issue this election is the democracy sausage crisis. Do the onions go on top or underneath? Do you need tomato sauce, barbecue sauce, or both? And I'm going to add, Ian, are there even democracy sausages? Does anyone even sell a sausage now at a polling booth?
Well, I haven't seen a sausage at a polling booth, Phil. I mean, this is the first time hearing about it, the democracy
It's a big
sausage.
thing. Are you?
I don't know where I've been all my life, but I've
Wow.
never had a democracy sausage.
Really? Okay, well, there we go. There's a few things afoot here.
You found the podcast of Vision's breakfast show, Rise and Shine. Rise and Shine.
Well, we're talking about voting etiquette today, Phil, and on the line we've actually got a sitting federal politician in the North Brisbane seat. I think it's called Longman, and his name is Terry Young, and he joins us now. Terry, welcome to Rise and Shine.
Good morning. How are you both?
Yeah, good. I'm seeing you're sitting and then you're standing. You're a busy man right now, so I appreciate you jumping on the phone with us. But we are talking about, Terry, this etiquette when you come to go to the booth. I'm wondering if you could think back to before you were a sitting member. I'm sure it's quite different now how you approach it. But when you go through that lineup of people all trying to give you how to vote cards, are you like me, face like flint, going to the end, you're only grabbing the one how to vote and you're ignoring everyone else? Or are you very friendly and you're high-fiving everyone along the way?
Look, I always used to just say g'day to everyone because I figure they're all volunteers. They believe in what they believe.
Nice.
I would rarely take a how to vote card because I already knew how to vote. I would just walk through, say, yep, thanks very much, no thanks, and just keep walking.
Nice.
Didn't really hang around for much conversation, but just moved on because you're normally busy and you just want to get in and out.
True.
I'd say that's the perfect answer. You were polite, but respectful, but also determined to just get to the end of the line there and vote. Now, Terry, obviously you're working the polls this week for the pre-polling. You're seeing all of your volunteers in your team there. What are you seeing? What's the etiquette like? Are you seeing any argy-bargy, or are you seeing most people are fairly polite?
I think probably over half would just be on a mission and they're just walking in.
Mm-hmm.
People either take none because they know what they're doing or they've got it on their phone these days. It's one of the things. Or a lot of us send out our how to vote cards by mail beforehand, so they've got it in their pocket already. They've printed it off. Or
that's organised.
Yeah. Or they've taken it out of the mailbox, and so which is really good. And then there's those people who are very polite and take everyone's card. And I say polite because obviously they can't vote for everyone, but they take everyone's card.
Like my husband.
That's what Phil's husband does, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then you get, there's a small percentage, probably less than 5%, that are very brave and take just one and really show who they're supporting, which is quite amazing. But they're in the minority for sure.
Oh, there we go.
And did you know the stats as of last night, Terry? Almost 3 million Aussies have already voted. They've pre-polled. Why do you think people are doing that?
I think there's a couple of reasons. I think they try to avoid how hectic it can be on polling day, which is kind of weird because with pre-poll now, it's actually gotten less busy on election day itself. And it's probably the lowest amount of lines is on election day because there's so many booths. Right. So I think the other thing is in Queensland and the Northern Territory, of course, it's a public holiday this Monday, so there's an awful lot of people that are going away for the long weekend, so they get it over and done with.
Yeah.
It's not like the old days where you had to have an excuse to vote early. Now you can just do it any time. So I think it's too long personally. I think it should only be a week. But anyway, that's just my view.
Good stuff, mate. Well, look, as a Christian, Terry, what's your word to every Christian in Australia? How should we approach an election? Should we be prayerful? Should we be looking for Christian values in candidates? What's your advice to everybody?
Well, I think you've got to be prayerful, and there are Christians on both sides of politics, and I think it's what lines up with your own ideologies. But look, I've been just saying to people, when you vote, it's about the end result, and I just say, ask yourself, are you better off than you were 3 years ago? From my point of view, and if you are, then maybe you should vote for the current government, and if you're not, then maybe you need a change. So. Yeah.
Well, the other thing, Terry, that I'm interested in is this. Andy has never had a democracy sausage, which I'm just learning about along the way. Do you think that's something that's falling aside as you're going around the booths? Are there much food and drink available?
No, definitely not.
Right.
No, it's it's a very short window you've got. And as I say, people are really trying to get in and out. They're probably not in the greatest social mood when they walk in to vote.
Right.
So
the end of an era.
Yeah.
So you're saying the days of the sausage are over?
I think so. Yes,
Wow.
I don't think there was never a day of a sausage. I can't remember a sausage ever at any telex I've ever been
You've
to.
never had one either.
It was
wow.
the day of the sausage. You don't remember that day, Terry? It was a big
Not
day.
like Bunnings. Maybe if they had polling booths at Bunnings, then you might get
Yeah,
a
that's
sausage.
right.
Well, you might get a better turnout, to be
Well,
fair.
maybe we should do that.
Maybe that's the thing.
Maybe we should combine Bunnings and voting.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, you never know. Anyway,
Buy
we don't
yourself
want
a
to give
plug.
them too much of a plug. We're meant to be impartial, so yeah.
Hey, Terry, we really appreciate your time. This is a very busy week for you, and we're praying for you and all of our politicians across Australia that the will of God will be done in this election, and like the Bible says, we'll have peace in our nation, and that God will appoint those that he wants to appoint into those leadership roles.
100%. At the end of the day, he's in control and on the phone, and just pray hard about who you're thinking about voting for, and make sure you get a clear passage to say, yep, that's the right person, and then go for it.
Praise
Good on you, Terry. Well,
Thanks,
that's Terry
Terry.
Young, the federal member for Longman in the North Brisbane seat there. Thank you so much for giving us your very valuable time this morning.
My pleasure. All the best. God bless.
We would love to hear from you about your voting etiquette. 1-800-316-316. And maybe if you've seen any of these elusive democracy sausages, you could let us know as well.
I've never seen one, Phil. I want to see one. I want to eat one.
Always encouraging and always fun. Rise and shine on Vision.
Well, we have Brett and Kate Ryan from Focus on the Family. It's always a joy to have them join us on Rise and Shine. Brett and Kate, welcome.
It's a pleasure.
How are you guys this morning? It's been had a lot of long weekends. Have you had some good time to rest and recharge?
Rest and recharge. Well, we were
There's
actually in
laughter in the
Western
background.
Australia recently, and so we did some ministry and we did some radio work and some interviews, which we're really excited about presenting over the next couple of months. We were talking about a reason. We did an interview with someone and his wife. They did some research on why young adults leave the church and leave their faith, and so it was really quite fascinating and how it could be easily addressed.
Well, can you tell us? Are you going to tell us about that? You're going to leave it hanging right there, Brett.
Watch this space. But in summary, it actually is just making it real, making it so it's transformational for you and your kids are observing and watching. And if there's not much difference between their friends' parents and your parents or their parents, like seeing that there is transformational. God makes a difference in our lives. And if our kids see that, then they see it's being real and authentic and genuine, and they will want to actually follow in that light.
And how we serve and how we use our money and everything, just the gospel changes.
Yeah, that's great.
Very
And do you think example hooks in there as well, just watching parents go to church faithfully and enjoy church and actually connect to God? Do you think that plays a part as well, according to the research?
Yeah, I think it's not just so much a church attendance, because you can attend church, but unless it changes you, and as Kate says, it infiltrates every part of your life about the way that you spend money, the way that you interact with others, and the way that you show incredible grace and forgiveness and love for others.
And not being judgmental. That was a big one. That's often people will say Christians are the most judgmental people on the planet. Well, what a dreadful indictment.
Yeah.
And so do we show grace? Here it is, the gospel that God's given us, saved us by grace. And where are we showing it to other people? And, of course, serving in the church and loving his church and things like that. All of it, it's the whole package. Does it look different?
I love that. Well, we're looking forward to hearing more about that when you're allowed to talk about it, but I'm glad we got something out of it.
That's right. Squeezed it out of you.
But I am excited. One of the things that you're talking about there is this idea of not being judgmental, Kate. I'm listening to that. But a big part of that is being forgiving others, aren't they? When things happen, it's our response to that, which is where we get to show Christ in action. It's easier said than done sometimes, though.
I love the fact that you say when things happen, because they are going to happen.
For sure.
Yeah. It is absolute. It's not if, it's when. And so people do rub us up the wrong way. It can be an opinion. It can be behaviours. It can be anything that can rub us the wrong way, and how are we going to act in that moment? Are we showing grace? And often people will hurt us for some reason or other. We've all got little triggers in our lives. And are we going to choose to forgive? Because often people aren't setting out to hurt us. That's not a plan. The average person is not setting out to hurt you.
Yeah.
It's just that they do because it's pressing on a sore point in your life.
And that doesn't mean that, that old adage that people say, forgive and forget. There is things that hurt and cause a scar, but it doesn't need to hold back. And for us to hold on to unforgiveness is not good for us physiologically. It's not good for us psychologically. It's not good for us emotionally and relationally. So we need to learn to forgive. Doesn't mean you can be a doormat either. Doesn't mean you have to put up with things that are unsafe and unhealthy for you. But ultimately, as Kate was saying so beautifully, that the fact is we know that people are going to let us down. People are going to, and believe it or not, I might even let Kate down every now and then. And she needs to forgive me.
Impossible.
Yeah.
Let's face it, the Bible talks about forgiveness all the time. I mean, the ultimate forgiveness was God forgave us our sins. Okay, so his scriptures in many places talk about, where the Lord's Prayer, forgive us our sins as we forgive those who trespass against us. And, if we don't forgive others, that holds back God's, when we're praying and Lord, forgive me, he says, you're holding unforgiveness to someone else.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. If we need some more resources, one place I love to go is to the Focus on the Family Australia website. Brett, can you tell us of some great resources if we want to learn more or lean into this?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that can cause us to hold on to hurts, and we need to process that. And so we've got a number of different resources in our downloadable area in families.org.au. And then we've got a whole bunch of other podcasts on forgiveness. So please, if people are hurting or would like to find out more information, just go to our website or contact us and I'll send you in the right direction at families.org.au.
Oh, thank you so much, Brett and Kate. Love whenever the Ryans are here with us on Rise and Shine, Andy.
Yeah, they're great value, aren't they, Phil?
Love the Rise and Shine podcast? Tell a friend today.
Phil, we are talking about voting etiquette. If you're just joining us, Phil brought up this morning, how do you conduct yourself when you go to a polling booth to vote in this modern world? Because it can be crazy there, can't it,
Well,
Phil?
that is right. And then look, the other side of the coin is Bella was showing me this little Instagram clip, and it was about someone saying, I'm taking my introverted friend to the polling booth because they can't walk through the line of people all trying to hand you their how to vote cards. It could be a problem.
It can be a problem if you're an introvert because there's a lot of faces there, a lot of brochures and flyers being shoved in your face.
Intimidating.
It can be a bit intimidating.
But in our family, neither of us are introverts, so that's not the problem. It's just how we choose to do it. Murray goes down the gauntlet of people handing out the how to vote cards. He's high-fiving them, having a great time. I'm more likely to have my face set like flint. I head down, pick out just the card from the person I'm going to vote for or that party, and on I go to vote. So we put it out there. What do you do? And are you eating a sausage along the way? 1-800-316-316. I've got Vola on the line. Vola, good morning. How do you go about the voting gauntlet?
Well, what I used to do in my younger years is graciously accept paperwork from everybody because I didn't want to offend anybody or feel rude and whatsoever. However, now I'm sort of more firm and I want people to know that who I'm voting for, really, because I want to publicly declare that what is happening out there is not good enough, and I will only accept papers from Family First, actually, because they align with my values and my beliefs.
So if anyone else puts any or tries to put some paper in your hand, do you get a little bit like this, where you just sort of like...
polite, no, Vola
I just politely say, no, thank you, and I keep walking.
Yes, I am the same as you, Vola. Andy's just loving playing this clip, I think, but I do love that you're just firm but kind, and I think that's very good. The other question we've got is, have you noticed any sausages around at voting time?
I haven't actually. I've only gone to a pre-polling booth and I haven't seen any sausages around, unfortunately.
No.
So they're not busting the sausages out in the pre-polling. That's
No,
disappointing.
there's none at pre-polling. You miss the sausage if you pre-poll, for sure.
So it's only a Saturday sausage you can potentially get.
But then I think you have to shop around.
Drive by the school and grab one, just, see what everyone else is doing. But, I don't know that I'm that hard up on having a sausage.
You can always head to Bunnings anyway. Oh, well, Vola,
Exactly.
thank you for giving us a call and letting us know. It sounds like you and I could vote together and we'd be quite happy.
Yeah, look in the eye and say, no, thank you. Keep walking.
Beautiful. Well put, well said. Thank you so much for adding to our conversation.
My pleasure. Bless you guys.
God bless, Vola.
Bye.
Okay,
Loving
bye.
all of these different ways of approaching polling, Andy.
Well, this is the beauty of democracy, Phil. We get to vote how we want. We get to conduct ourselves at the polling booth how we want. As long as we're, abiding by the laws of the land, being respectful.
Just the right mix of things to inspire and things to make you smile. Rise and shine on Vision.
Somewhere I'm going to give a shout out to right now, it's Bloomsbury in Queensland, which is famous for a person, actually, one of our Vision family who's a champion at Saints of the Century, Paul. He heralds from Bloomsbury. So, Paul, if you're listening, a big hello to you and everyone else in Bloomsbury this morning, listening along on 88 FM. It's in the Mackay region, in case you're wondering, trying to get a picture in your head of where in Queensland it is. You're at 18 degrees right now, heading up to 30 during the day. Looks like it's going to be a beautiful sunny day in Bloomsbury and all of Mackay. Light winds, beautiful place to be.
Sounds like perfect weather today, Phil. And I'm in, speaking of perfection, Romans chapter 5, verse 11. And it says, not only this, but we also rejoice in God through our Lord Jesus Christ, through whom we've received the reconciliation. So if you're looking for some more joy in your life, the key to joy is Jesus himself. He's the one who gives us joy.
Oh, well put, Andy. Don't you? I love that at Vision we get to hear little bits of the Bible throughout the day. You don't get that many other places.
Well, you don't get it on normal FM radio, that's for sure.
That is for sure. It's pretty precious that we're very thankful for the Word of God and the ability to be able to speak that across the country. For everyone who gives to make that possible, we're so thankful for you.
I've heard of all-day breakfast on the menu, but here's a brekkie show available 24/7. Thanks for streaming the Rise and Shine Daily Podcast.
I'm looking forward to hearing about a conference, Phil, that anyone, anywhere in Australia can attend. Now, spoiler alert, it's only for women, but the concept is good because I like the idea that it doesn't matter where you are, how big or small a town that you live in is, you can actually be a part of this upcoming conference.
I've got Isabelle Lynn, the chair of Equip 25, zooming in with us now. Good morning, Isabelle.
Good morning, Phil.
We're very excited to hear more about what Equip 25 is all about. Can you treat us as if we know absolutely nothing and start from the very beginning?
Of course. Equip Women, it's an annual Bible teaching conference for Australian women by Australian women. That's basically the summary of it.
Okay, that's interesting. So the brief is you always have Australian speakers to speak to an Australian audience, and that's an intentional thing?
It's accidental. How's that? So I think when we started this conference in 1999, and back then we were young, and we just come out of Bible college. My husband had just started working in a church as a minister, and we found ourselves with young women in our care, and we wanted to do something to help them engage with the Bible, because we really think that's the source of being able to persevere in Christian life and grow. And so we kind of just got together. I think there was 7 of us. We invited 20 friends each. And we thought we just really want to teach women the Bible. And so in a way, we were Australian women and the women that we were teaching were Australian women. And so it's really grown from there. And I guess particularly since COVID, in 2020, we became a virtual online conference. Wow. And so since we've become a virtual conference, we've really grown a lot because I think the country towns in Australia, they feel like they've got a conference that's made for them now. They're not just watching something that's happening in Sydney that they're missing out on, but they're actually watching a Bible teaching conference that's made for them to stream in their own church with their own women.
Wow. So tell us, what sort of numbers of people are you having connect with the conference across the country?
So it's been steadily growing actually since COVID, which is a little bit crazy. I wouldn't have actually I guess it wasn't by human wisdom that we kind of thought, oh, we're going to be an online conference. That's the way to go. Yeah. But what we found was that over the lockdown period, in those years in particular, our registrations really climbed. And so last year, when we did chapters 1 to 5 of Revelation, we had over 10,000 registrations from around Australia.
That's big. So I'm just visualizing this now. If I live in a town in Australia, regional town, and a bunch of women in that town are going to attend the conference, is that what it looks like? They get together somewhere and attend. What does that look like for them? Like, during the breaks, what you say, we'll be back in an hour, go and have your lunch now, et cetera, et cetera?
Exactly. I mean, I think one of the fascinating things is because we started as an in-person conference that women in Sydney used to bring their groups of women to, as we've gone online, that pattern has continued. Hardly anyone watches Equip on their own.
Nice.
They might if they miss the actual event or day, but most women watch it with their Bible study group or like some of the churches get together and make it an event. Nice. And so this lady wrote in a couple of years ago to us from Townsville, and she said these ladies had their Townsville group had a group of ladies who'd driven 3 hours from Ellie Beach to come and join the Townsville stream. So they kind of get together in hubs. Some people watch it with their own family in their lounge room. And we are mindful that that's what's happening. And so we make a stream that is for watching.
Nice.
So, yes, something, last year we wanted them to have a little break and think about something. So we gave them a 2-minute countdown clock to talk to the person next to them. And when we get to lunch hour, that's what we say. We say, we're going to have an hour break now, time for you to have a bit of lunch, have a chat with one another, and we'll see you back at 2.
Yeah, I like the sound of it. So you're really merging technology and community together there. So you're not losing community, but you're also using technology, and anyone anywhere in Australia can attend it. That's what I really like about this as well. You could be in the most remote part of Australia and still feel connected to your conference.
Yeah, and look, even in, I think lots of country towns are using it because it's wonderful because they can host a Women's Day. And one of the most tricky things is finding a woman Bible teacher to come and be able to teach the Bible to them. And they've got it there. All they do is turn on the stream. They just organise. They organise really nice things. I've seen some of the photos that they send in, decorations, flowers, food. It looks amazing, better than what I've got. But yeah, they sort of make an event of it and they really love it. I mean, I was recently in Tasmania in a tiny little town, Swansea, and I went to church there, and on the back of their church bulletin, they were already advertising Equip for this year. That was really fun. So I think, we really like that. But even the churches in Sydney, I talked to some of the churches that I visit in Sydney, and they say doing it in their own church with their own women, it's an excuse to gather across the different generations. So it's a day where they get women from their younger night church, the older morning service, the family service, they all get together and they learn from the Bible together. So, I love that community aspect of it.
Well, Isabelle, we are so excited to hear what happens this year. The topic is Safely Home. So it's Revelation 6 through 22. You're tackling some pretty exciting parts of the Bible, and it's live streamed from the 21st of June. So you have a bit of time to cook, to bake, get those flowers together and
get the decorations
the decorations ready. If you've been inspired, though, where should people go, Isabelle, to find out some more information?
Yeah, so they should go to our website, equip.org.au. They'll find information. They'll find the link to registration. I mean, the thing that I love about doing it online is it's also so much cheaper than in person. So I think we're charging about $22 a head, which just makes it so much more accessible. So go there for information. If you register for this year's conference, we have last year's stream of Revelation chapters 1 to 5 already up, and you can watch it for free.
Oh,
how good's that?
Bargain. Two for the price of one.
It's reproducible. I can see this going in every country town in Australia because it's only $22 a head. You can do it anywhere. You don't need to travel anywhere. What a great concept. What a great conference.
It is. Isabelle, thank you so much for coming. We'll have to check back in as we get a little bit closer and you can tell us some more. We'll get some recipes ready here for anyone hosting their own event.
I should start reading Revelation. It's quite a long read.
Get going now.
Excellent. So that's the Equip Women's Conference.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
from June 21.
Beautiful. Well, Isabelle, thank you so much for joining us on Rise and Shine.
Lovely to meet you both.
Subscribe and listen to the Rise and Shine podcast in the free Vision app. It's easy and available everywhere.
Annie, the big news at the moment is that polls are open. Pre-polling is open for the federal election.
Yeah, and I believe almost 3 million people have already voted as of last night. That's out of 18 million potential voters. So no sausage for those 3 million because I've just discovered this morning you only get a democracy sausage on election Saturday. I've personally never had a democracy sausage.
You've never even seen it?
Never seen a sausage. No one's told me about it. I've just gone to vote. I've walked out. No sausage.
Well, there's either bean sausages and you're just so tunnel-minded that you're not seeing them, or there's none at your polling booth. Either way, we need to fix that for you. I feel like that's a key piece. We have put it out there. When you go to vote, do you take all of the how to vote cards from everyone, or do you set your face like Flint, just grab the one that you're after and go straight in to cast your ballot? Give us a call with your opinion, 1-800-316-316. Can see we've got Catherine from Port Arlington on the line. Catherine, have you been pre-polling?
No, I haven't pre-polled because I don't work Saturdays.
Okay, so you're all good to go. Right.
So I'm all good to go, but I select my polling booth based on sausage.
You do. Now, see, Andy has never been to a booth. Is it hard to find one that has a sausage now?
It depends. In Port Arlington, obviously, we're very limited. We usually only have one booth down here. Right. But I will deliberately go buy sausages and make democracy sausages if there is no sausage at the booth. It's like my reward for voting and doing my democratic duty.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So if they don't provide one, you are like, this is my day of democracy. I'm definitely having a sausage anyway.
Yeah, because the kids, it's all for the kids.
Yes.
Like, I actually take my kids along to the polling booth with me.
Yes, good.
And I actually explain to them what we're doing.
Excellent.
And the process and how to actually use the voting cards and not doing informal votes and not doing donkey votes, but actually being considerate with what we're doing.
Yes.
And usually reward them with a democracy sausage.
Good parenting. That's good parenting all around.
Great incentives there for our young, I was going to say Democrats, but not Democrats, our young kiddies who one day will vote in an election. So do you remember last election, was there a democracy sausage on offer? Can you recall?
There was. The Uniting Church, where their polling booth was, did their duty and had democracy sausages go.
There you go.
Good job, Uniting Church in Port Arlington.
It helps when we're waiting in line as well.
Yes. You need something to chew on. I'm better in line if I'm fed. That is for sure. Are you training the kids, Catherine, when you go through the line to take all of the how to vote cards or just to pick the one for the team, for the party that you're going to vote for?
I actually take great delight in going no.
Yes,
to all of them, except for one. I'll pick one.
Yes, yeah.
That's the one I'll take.
There you go.
And I'll do it deliberately in front of the party that I'm not like. I know it's not quite Christian. I'm sorry. I need to repent from this. But it's something that I do. It's going to entertain.
It is a bit entertaining. Well, there you go.
What's the point of taking the flyers if you're not going to actually read them?
100%. It's just a waste of. It's hard for the environment.
Someone's got to chop that tree down. Someone's got to print that paper. So I think you're right there. I think you need to just not take that stuff because you're just wasting paper, making someone else go and chop a tree down.
And most people generally just leave them in where the voting stations are anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I've actually got my how to vote already from the person who I'm considering. Because they've been around campaigning around the area and that. And so I've already got that information.
Very organised.
I kind of try and get some of that beforehand. I try and have an idea usually who my main preferences are and go from there.
That is very organised.
It is very organised. And obviously you're trying to find candidates whose values line up with your Christian values.
Correct.
And I heard that there's a really great website that the ACL have put together, australiavotes.org.au, and you're able to go there to help make up your mind for those who haven't. I haven't been on there, but that looks like a great resource as
It's very helpful. I've seen it reposted on social media, actually, and it's very helpful, very informative.
And I think the important thing, too, to remember is, like, if you're voting for some of the minor Christian parties, even if that person doesn't actually get into power, it gives them a base to lobby the government.
Right.
So even if you sort of vote for your Christian parties and they're not getting in, they go, well, actually, we polled this much % of the original votes of the, first round voting. So we actually do have a voice in this area.
Oh, wonderful.
So your vote's not wasted.
Exactly.
Well, Catherine, you've brought a lot of knowledge to this discussion this morning, so thank you for giving us a call. I'm imagining you on Saturday pushing through the line, marching determinately through the line, sausage in hand and some kidlets. Well done to you.
Yeah, definitely will be making sure I get my democracy sausage, don't you worry.
And no pressure on the Uniting Church at Port Arlington, but I think you and your family definitely are hoping for a sausage.
If worst case scenario, we'll go down to the footy club.
Oh, there you go. There's a plan B. Thank you so much for giving us a call.
Brought to you by the generosity of Vision family members across Australia and around the world. The Rise and Shine podcast.
I can see we've got Graham on the line. Graham, how do you approach the polling panel there?
I did my research. I voted pre-poll on Saturday, just gone.
Yes.
And but I did my research before, and I actually had my own how to vote slip in my hand as I walked through.
Okay, so
that's very clever.
You already knew in advance. And was there a lot of people as you parked your car and you started approaching the booth? Did you see a lot of people there with their little flyers in their hands?
There were many people there, all from different parties and a couple of independents and so forth. But
was it a little? Do you feel like this on the inside?
Excuse me, we'd like you to have this flower.
As you're walking down.
Excuse me, sir, would you?
Graham is not pushing them aside. Graham is not rough and tumbling anyone.
You feel like doing it sometimes, don't you, Graham?
How about Buddhism?
I'm sure that Graham is very.
Oh, yeah. Scientology.
But you do feel like that sometimes, don't you, Graham? You just want to get them out of the way and just get in there and do the business.
Yeah, considering I'd already gone through the exercise and I knew what my preferences were going to be, and so I'd already made up my mind, and they weren't going to change it. So yeah.
Well, this is good. So obviously, how do you choose who you vote for? Let us know. What do you line up values with your values? Is that's the criteria?
I certainly did. So I voted number one for the party that is most aligned with my values, and then next was the party that was probably going to be able to. They might not have quite the same values, but they can actually make some things happen. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
And in the Senate, it was it was just quite a complex.
It is.
Choice to make, but I managed to get there in the end.
Do you enjoy putting like the biggest number, like putting the party you like the least right at the bottom? Because I love that. I love giving them
You're enjoying the process.
because I want to see them just fail. I don't want to see them succeed at all because their values don't line up to my values.
No, that's true.
And I would like to see them gone. But do you enjoy that too, Graham?
I do. So I put my in the House of Reps. I put the party with that aligns with my values the most. I put them number one, and then I went straight to whatever it was, number 6 out of 6. And then
went backwards. You work backwards. Sounds like Andy would do the same.
There's a joy in it, isn't there? Because it's a great privilege, isn't it, Graham, that we actually have the opportunity to vote in a free election. So many people in the world today don't have that privilege.
I know, and I can't understand why people get so agitated and animated, and they become quite. What's the word? Overly critical is not what I'm trying to say. It's even stronger than that. But when we do have that privilege, and in other countries, when things don't go their way, that it's sort of violence on the streets, and I really am concerned that we should not head that way. So yeah.
No, it's such a privilege. We're very blessed, and we are having a bit of fun this morning with the approach to the gauntlet, but it is one of those things that we don't take for granted. Thank you so much for giving us a call and encouraging us about this morning, Graham.
No worries. Thank you very much. God bless.
Oh, God bless. Thank you, Graham. Look, and if there's still time, if you want to have your say, this is like the poll before the poll.
That's right. The pre-poll poll.
The pre-poll poll on 1-800-316 316 or by text. And you might sing the text line for us.
0447 488 316.
The dulcet tones of Andy. That's just beautiful.
Not quite Santa music, Fel, but I'm trying.
These are a few of my favourite things. Anyway, if you've got
a trivia quiz. Dad, he did sing one song, didn't he, in that movie?
Yeah, no, he does sing Edelweiss.
Oh.
So there's a touching moment where he has all of the... sorry, it's about the Sound of Music if you're listening on. He gets all the kids around him and the dad has been a bit distant and they hand him the guitar.
That's right.
And he starts Edelweiss and the kids join in and that's when you're in tears. Like
It's a beautiful moment, isn't it?
Beautiful moment.
Yes, the old German submarine commander. He got a soft heart, didn't he?
He did. I mean, Andy's favourite moment, as you mentioned before, is the whistle. You are just like, that's how you want to parent.
I loved his whistle. He brought that whistle from, I think he was in the First World War as a submarine commander.
I think he did.
Even though he's Austrian. And he had those kids in very efficient order and they were marching and they were saluting and they were doing everything they were told.
Is that how you saw yourself as a parent before you were a parent?
No, I just don't like chaos. So I like the orderliness of that. Now, of course, once you have kids, there is no orderliness. It is chaos. No. But I just think he was a great character. And it's a true story.
Yes.
I mean, we are so digressing here. But what I love about the Sound of Music movie, it's clean. It's a true story. And they did migrate to America and they became singing sensations in America. And it's just one of those stories of, that is the story of America. People fleeing from a bad background, a bad past, and finding a new life where their dreams come true in a new land. And that really is the story of America. So it's a movie well worth seeing, Fel. If you're bored with the election, find Sound of Music tonight and watch it.
You can't go wrong with the Sound of Music. Well, there you go. Some advice from us on Rise and Shine this morning.
Great conversations and great friends. The Rise and Shine podcast.
We'd love your thoughts on either the sausage or how you go about voting. Good morning. Who have we got there?
Oh, hi, my name is Sophie.
Hey, Sophie. Great to hear from you this morning. Are you calling about your election etiquette?
I am, yes.
Wonderful. I can't wait to hear how you approach that gauntlet of people offering you things.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, talk us through it. What's been your experience so far? Have you voted this year or are you waiting for Saturday?
I'm waiting for Saturday, but I was also going to say there's actually a website that's called democracysausage.com and it lists all of the polling places that actually have where they're going to have sausage sizzles, but also bake sales, because sometimes they do that, and what they might be raising money for. So, and it's all around Australia too.
Really?
Sophie.
So do you pick your, I'm on there now, Democracy Sausage, Federal Election 2025. Do you choose your polling? This is actually very cute. So you go in, there's a map of Australia, and it's got all of these little sausages, marking spots, and cupcakes.
This is valuable information. But, Sophie, can we just put it out there? You don't have any skin in the game here, do you? You're not part of the democracysausage.com organisation, are you, or the committee?
No, I only found it yesterday because I was told about it by a friend. And I thought, well, if there's anything that people need to know for Election Day, I feel like this is of prime importance. So
I think you're right. Will you be choosing your location to vote based on whether there's a sausage available?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's fair. In fact, in my region, I've just narrowed down. There's only like 2 in my whole region, and I'm in a pretty populated area. It's hard to find.
Yeah, rare as hen's teeth. So, Sophie, let's talk about that sausage, because you just voted, okay, that you might find that painful, but are you an onions with the sausage, a barbecue sauce, tomato sauce? Will you have it on bread or just have it in the napkin? Talk us through it.
Well, I definitely like to have it with the onions as well. But, yes, a little bit of sauce. I think it depends on the day and what's available. But, yeah, definitely with the bread. I don't know why, unless you're gluten-free or something.
Sure.
I don't know why you'd have it without the bread. But, yeah, I think it's very Australian. It's probably one of the most iconically Australian things that we can do on Election Day.
I agree. It just feels more Australian if you've got a sausage in hand. And if you like Andy, he's in there for a while because he's filling in below the boxes for the Senate. So he's numbering how many numbers there. You need something to eat to keep your blood sugar up.
I got to Google all those little parties and these individuals and find out what they stand for before I give them a number. I don't rush
these
things.
Table service. You need to be in the booth, and they should be bringing. You should be Ubering in food. Oh, that's handy.
The handmaidens working at the booth. They should be bringing in the grapes, the canapes.
Extra drinks. You need some coffees. He's in there for hours.
Absolutely.
But Sophie, this is gold. We are so glad you've let everyone know that there is a website, democracysausage.com.
It's .org. Just so sorry, I gave it wrong.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to be looking it up myself, because if there's a democracy sausage on offer on Saturday, I'm going to beeline.
You have to go, and I need a photo
beelining to that booth right there.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Sophie. Well, there you go. I am fascinated to see how you go about voting on the weekend, Andy.
That was a very enlightening phone call. Thank you, Sophie, for calling us, and everyone who has called today. But that one is gold. I'm definitely going to that website before I vote on Saturday.
The other website you should be heading to is australiavotes.org.au for all seriousness. I mean, the sausage is pretty serious, but this allows you, the ACL, the Australian Christian Lobby, have put this one together to help you get some information about the candidates that you might be considering voting for. So that's another good website we should give a plug to.
Good voting advice there, Phil. And I agree. I think it is important as Christians that we make sure the people we're voting for actually line up with our values. Otherwise, the people we vote for are going to potentially do things we don't really agree with.
Lots of laughs with lots of heart. The Rise and Shine podcast.
Now, a very big shout out to everyone listening in Wongan Hills, Western Australia, where you're listening along on 88 FM. It's a welcoming rural town about 2 hours northeast of Perth. It's got a really rich pioneering history in that region. And I love that it stems from an Aboriginal word which means whispering hills, Andy.
Oh, whispering hills.
Whispering. And it reminds me when I go walking with the kids, we have this little amphitheatre that we walk by sometimes. And the kids have decided that you can whisper into one end of the amphitheatre and you can hear it at the other. And so all I think of when I see them is that their little heads just down inside the concrete at one end to the other end, trying to whisper to each other and whether it works or not.
Did it actually work?
Well, they seem to think maybe, but now it's just funny just to watch.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, Whispering Hills, like, is there something that's happened where they've heard a secret that shouldn't have been said around Wongan maybe?
Could be a story there.
Could be a story.
But those amphitheatres are fascinating things, aren't they? The way that sound can travel before sound systems were invented, how people could project their voice when they were doing theatre or reciting poetry maybe, or even preaching perhaps.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, but, the Bible says, I'm in Romans chapter 5, and in verse 14 it says, the free gift is not like the offence. That's Adam's sin and what came because of that. For if by the one man's offence many died, much more the grace of God and the gift by the grace of the one man, Jesus Christ, abounded to many. I'm going to summarize that. In other words, Adam sinned, sin spread to the whole world, and it brought, a curse and people were separated from God. But because of Jesus and God's grace, now many can come to know God again and come into eternal life. It's awesome.
It is awesome. And if you've never heard that before, if this is the first time you're hearing, gee, that is good news, encourage you to get in touch with the Vision team. We have a prayer line. You can give us best thing is probably go to the website, vision.org.au, click on prayer, go through to our prayer team, and the prayer team are able to talk to you about Jesus and explain what that means in a lot more detail.
Yeah, and they're there every weekday. And the line's actually 1-800-772-936, and you can call them today from 9 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time, and they're there to talk with you, pray with you, just encourage you, or maybe just listen to you.
Always encouraging and always fun. Rise and shine on Vision.
On the line, we've got Lockie, our jingle man. So, Andy, I don't know if you realise this, but Lockie is the one who came up with the jingle that we use for our text line.
And Lockie has got a voice that
Like
I could
an
only
angel.
wish for, like I could only pray for. So, Lockie, what are your thoughts about the election week and the early polling?
Oh, yeah, no, I think it's good, that people can do that. And in regards to the etiquette, I mean, I have tunnel vision and just grab the how to vote that I want and walk straight in.
I am with you, Lockie. You're a man of good taste, and that's why it doesn't surprise me. How do you also feel? We were talking a bit before about The Sound of Music. How do you feel about The Sound of Music?
Oh, it's a great film.
Yes.
Yeah, and such a great story and beautiful music in it, yeah.
And we were talking about the Captain Von Trapp, whether Andy was asking whether he sings a song. He sings a song, doesn't he? Like, it's not just any song, the song of the movie.
Oh, yeah, Edelweiss. It has to be the song of the movie. I think it's such a beautiful song and such a good scene that it's in. Yeah.
Well, do you know the song, Lockie?
Yeah, I do. I actually sang it to Year 12. Like, I did music in Year 12.
Oh, wow.
And I had to do solo performance, and that was one of the songs that I was learning with my singing teacher and that I did.
Oh, okay. So, Lockie, you need to bust out a few tunes right now. Come on, give us a little bit of Edelweiss.
Oh, it's been a while. Like, Year 12 was like 20 years ago.
Come on, Lockie, this is your moment.
I don't think Andy knows how it goes.
Edelweiss. Is that how it goes?
Sort of.
Okay, Lockie,
Yeah,
come on,
yeah,
go for it.
All right. Edelweiss, Edelweiss, every morning you greet me. And I've forgotten the rest.
I was going to say, I never know the next line. You
Nailed
look
it.
nice, Edelweiss. I always get it wrong. That was just beautiful. Well done. Thank you for sharing that with us this morning.
Worries.
You found the podcast of Vision's breakfast show, Rise and Shine.
Rise and Shine. We've had such a fun morning. We are going to hand over to the rest of the Vision crew now. But, gee, it's been so great chatting about all things to do with polling day. I've got a text here to finish us off.
Okay, what is it, Phil?
It's from Josh. So Josh in Tassie in Hobart. We love it whenever he gets in touch. He says, guys, my two bobs, Democracy Soso is an Australian institution. Bread, butter, not margarine. Soso, onion, sauce, no exceptions. Be friendly but firm. Engage volunteers if necessary, but only take a flyer from your top 1 to 3. Vote below the line. Agrees with you, Andy. And then vote the first couple and then work from the bottom up so you don't get bored and also to avoid writer's cramp.
You are an Aussie hero, my friend.
Don't you
an
love
Aussie
that?
hero.
I thought you'd like that.
He's covered all bases there.
So we've learned a lot today. I didn't know there was a website where you could find where those sausages were held, but we also are making you know that there's the Australian Christian Lobby have a site as well, australiavotes.org.au, where you can head if you haven't voted and you're trying to work out which way or what everyone's thinking and what your candidates believe in. That's a good place to turn for some good information.
Certainly is, and maybe even turn to the Lord, Fel, and ask God to help you as well. That's always a good idea too, isn't it? And pray for the peace of our nation, the prosperity of our nation, and more importantly, the revival in our nation. That's what we want to see God to move across our land. But thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be back with you same time, same place tomorrow on Rise and Shine.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.